Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome back to another TVlog. This time it's Dipper and Mabel versus the future. Major spoilers. Duh. Wow. Oh boy, this is why I love this show. You know, it's like very frequently we get these episodes where it's just like, oh man, just everything changes. Like what other show? Like this is now like the third episode in like eight episodes. Um, that's really just kind of like changed everything. You know, like we had Not What He Seems. We had A Tale of Two Stands. Now we have Dipper and Mabel versus the future, and great episode. So let me just kind of run down my notes here. I like Mabel's little reference to High School Musical. I was a little bit surprised that Dipper was surprised at the aliens thing. I mean, considering everything else that's happened in Gravity Falls, I think it'd be weirder if there weren't aliens in some capacity. Granted, it's a little weird for Gravity Falls because Gravity Falls is more mythology than like science fiction, although it definitely has a lot of science fiction elements, especially with Ford in the portal and everything. It's just it's always been kind of more of a folklore thing, like with unicorns and gnomes, and zombies and all that. But yeah, it's not really that surprising that there's aliens. Let's see, the magnet gun. That thing is really cool, like the electromagnet gun. That's like the kind of thing that you'd find in like a Zelda game or something. Where like it'd be really impractical in real life, and they kind of made some jokes about it there, how Dipper was magnetizing onto everything and it wasn't working when he wanted it to. But that's just like one of those improbably cool weapons that you get to see in fiction. Let's see, there was definitely more than one triangle, upside down triangle in that alien spacecraft. I like that. I like that apparently Dipper wants to go into media production so he can make his own ghost hunting show. I mean, that kind of makes sense if it's mirroring Alex Hirsch. If that's Dipper's based on him, it makes sense. You know, most writers are writers. You know, and people who make shows and stories write stories in which characters are writers and makers of cartoons and all this stuff because it reflects them. You write what you know, so that makes sense there. But it's just cool being someone else who is into that sort of stuff to see Dipper want to do it. But of course, the funny thing is he wants to do it because he wants to do a paranormal ghost hunting show, which is kind of funny because he's seen a ghost, he's fought a ghost. Let's see what else. They live in California, Dipper and Mabel. I don't know if that's ever been revealed at any other point. It may have been. I might just be slow on this. But, yeah, that's confirmed, which is, again, makes sense, you know. Write what you know and all that. Ford getting yanked away by the robots was pretty tense. Like, that was almost up there with the episode with the fake out with Ford in the basement in not last episode, 2 episodes ago. I'm blanking on the name of that episode, but yeah, that fake out was like a really just like heart-wrenching moment. Like, oh man, Ford's been really controlled by Bill, and here's like another one of those moments where Ford's just being like dragged away by these things. Like that moment feels big. That moment feels like it's an important thing, and Ford's like, I'm not coming back wherever they're taking me. I'm done. You know, like that really hits you, and that's a good show knows how to do moments like that hit you. You know, you feel it. Important moments need to feel important, and it does. There was when the aliens were going through the map. One of the things they showed was the Little Dipper, which makes sense. Or was it the Big Dipper? But anyway, yeah. Which probably also implies that they were taking Ford like up, like to outer space somewhere. Which, by the way, Ford telling Dipper to just like press any button and everything, that was monumentally stupid. Like, Ford has been very, very taking a lot of cautionary measures in a lot of things he does, and he also knows that these kind of like security system bots exist. Why would he be doing this? He's like, it hasn't worked in thousands of years, and yet come on, like you can't be that careless. That doesn't seem very much like Ford, but I guess the plot has to be what it is. Um, let's see. Uh, oh, the ships were CG. I think, yeah, they look very CG, like the little pods, the alien robot things. But it worked because it looks like otherworldly. It looks they had a really cool shine to them. They definitely stood out. I mean, I'm 90% sure they were CG. If they weren't CG, then there's some other animation technique they use there or something, because they definitely look off. But that's kind of the point, because they're alien ships, so that makes sense. They're little alien crafts. And I like the defense in general. I thought that was a cool concept, that it basically looks for fear. Because think about it. If you have a ship and you want to secure it, then you make the security system kill anyone that's, like, afraid. Because if you're on your own ship, why would you be afraid? You have no reason to fear. It's the enemy that would have reason to fear. That's an interesting defense system. Let's see, what else? Dipper got really bloodied up in the episode. I gotta say, like, Disney doesn't really do many bloody things in their animated shows, but Dipper's been bloodied up a few times. That's cool that they were able to make him look pretty beat up there, and Ford as well. And then, of course, there's the ending. When Blandon steps out and he's like, "Oh, I can let you have time forever, Mabel." I I've been watching so much Rick and Morty and Adventure Time lately that, like, I was like, why is Morty here? What is Lemon Grab doing here? I'm like, oh yeah, Blandon's voiced by Justin Roiland too. But yeah, like, as soon as he came out, it was pretty obvious that it was gonna be Bill, and the show doesn't really try to fool you. I mean, it doesn't come out and just be like, I'm Bill from the start, but, like, it's not an extended sequence. It's not like you're like, oh, what's really? Because it's going to be Bill. If you've been paying attention, it's very clearly going to be Bill. It wouldn't make any sense why Blandon would be there. And also, how did Bill possess Blandon? Was Blandon back in the present time? This is one of the things that doesn't make sense to me in Gravity Falls. One of the few things is the whole time travel thing. If the future didn't have the apocalypse in it when Dipper and Mabel went there, then why does it have it now? I mean, I guess that shows that eventually the apocalypse will be undone, maybe, or maybe it's just inconsistency. Like, it's like the time travel thing. Just, I don't know. Time travel's very hard to get right, but, like, could Bill time travel? Could he travel to the future, possess Blandon, and then go back? Because otherwise, what would Blandon be just doing in the present timeline? I guess it's possible he's there to maybe warn them that something bad is about to happen, but how would he? Time travel's complicated, man. But anyway, it made sense that it was Blandon that was the guy that was possessed, because it made sense for Mabel, for what she wanted and everything. And I like how the show is kind of going more towards, like, pushing Dipper towards his hero role. It's like, you are a hero, you are the chosen one. That's something we didn't really get at the beginning of the series. We didn't really know Dipper was special in any way. And it's just kind of like he's starting on this journey to become the hero, to become something special. And I think it's really kind of interesting to explore, like, what happens if you're the twin of someone who is destined for greatness. Like, where does that leave you? And then they started to explore it with Stan and Ford, and now we're seeing the parallel again with Dipper and Mabel. And it's kind of like one of those great situations where it's not Dipper's fault. Dipper's interested in this stuff. It's not like Mabel's interested in all the supernatural stuff and has been trying to get Ford's attention or anything. Mabel's not as interested, so it's Dipper's destiny to do this, and it's not Mabel's. It's not what she wanted to do. And it's just kind of one of those things with twins. It's like siblings in general. Not that I would know. I'm an only child, but from what I've seen, siblings in general, and especially twins, have a hard time breaking apart after they've been together and been through so much that it's you really understand why Mabel would be so hurt by this, but you also understand why Dipper would want this. I mean, what Ford says is right. It probably is very suffocating. They have to share a room, like, there's a point in your life where you kind of have to stand as an individual, and unfortunately, that does mean that there's probably going to be one twin that gets left behind a little bit, and in this case, it's going to be Mabel. And the episode says in no uncertain terms, Mabel's kind of in for a rough ride. You know, not that her life is gonna be terrible, but they don't give her any like upside. It's not like, well, here's Candy and Grenda that are gonna be there for her. It's like, no, she's gonna go off to school back in her hometown. High school's terrible, and she doesn't really have like anything pulling her in any strong direction. Um, I wonder if she'd even be able to keep Waddles at home. I wonder how her parents would feel about that. Speaking of their parents, Ford says that Dipper's parents would love to have him homeschool Dipper because of how smart he is. How would Dipper and Mabel's parents know about Ford? I mean, I guess they would. Maybe they would know about Ford. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible that um, whoever, I guess their dad's dad, told them about how he had twin siblings and one of them went missing. Although I guess as far as their parents, but yeah, as far as their parents know, that Grunkle is the one running the Mystery Shack, the one that's not too bright. Unless Stan convinced them that he was Ford or something, I guess that's also possible. But then again, why would Dipper and Mabel not know about Ford? I'm getting way too complicated into this. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder if we will ever see their parents. But yeah, at this point, it doesn't matter. It's the apocalypse, so yeah. I wonder how Mabel's gonna deal with this. This is not. It's a pretty big mistake there. But of course, I guess it's also Ford and Dipper's fault for not telling Mabel. You know, if they had said to her, "Hey, look, this is the rift. This is the thing that's gonna cause the apocalypse. Don't ever fool around with this." If they had just been upfront with her and not kept secrets, she wouldn't have done this. You know, she obviously didn't know what the thing was. And while yes, it was careless of her to just give away some mysterious part to Blendon, it also, if she had known what it was, I don't think she would have done that. But yeah, this was a really good episode. It's one of those where just like there are moments like when Ford's getting dragged away where you feel it, you feel the impact, you feel, oh man, something big is about to happen. And the great thing about Gravity Falls is that it's a show where things do change. Things are allowed to change. It's not a show where things get reset the next episode. You know, of course there are standalone episodes that don't affect things, but when big things happen, big things happen. It's not like, oh, next episode they're gonna fix the apocalypse. No, I betcha they're gonna spend a few episodes trying to think of something to do, some way to stop this. Although, you know, hey, Bill did kind of just give Mabel access to a time machine. Blendon had his time machine on him from what I think I remember. So in theory, couldn't Mabel just go back like a few minutes and undo that? I don't know. I don't know. But whatever's gonna happen, crazy things are gonna happen. I really hope this show gets a third season. Things have been very ambiguous on that front from Alex and from everyone at Disney. Like, we've heard reports that voice actors are still coming in and doing voice recordings, but that doesn't mean anything. They could always be doing it for like promos or for like a video game or some spin-off or something. We don't know. It's been intentionally left very vague, and I feel like that's because maybe season 2 is going to end in such a way that there isn't, you know, there's no more room for any more stories. Or something, but I think there is definitely something interesting going on. Luckily, the show's been getting great ratings on Disney XD. From what I hear, or from what I've seen, it's like the best show on the network. And from the way they're advertising it, it isn't like the kind of show that Disney's just gonna drop. So either they have it planned to end after 2 seasons, or maybe a 3rd season was renewed a long time ago, and they're just keeping it a mystery because they don't want fans to think, to watch an episode and be like, oh, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Nothing life-changing is going to happen because the show's got to go on. Since we don't know if there's a 3rd season, who knows what's going to happen with the show? Who knows what the apocalypse is going to do? It's crazy. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep watching. It's unfortunate that we're going to have to wait a few months before getting the next episode, but plenty of time to speculate, at least. So with that, PIEGUYRULZ, out.